Hello, peeps, and happy April. Sorry, I have been missing in action quite a lot, and I know I'm looking like an alien, but surprise, surprise, this headset has a microphone, and this computer has a sort of lousy sound equipment without this microphone. So yeah, that's why I kind of have to look like an alien in these 1960s movies and have to be proud of it and make the best of the situation. Thanks for helping me to revive this format, 5 questions in 5 minutes. Now I have already introduced the matter for a straight 50 seconds, so I hope this video won't be longer than any 6 minutes in total. Ready, set, go. What's the main cultural differences between Germany and Iceland? Again, this is like my experience. Someone else might analyze it quite a bit differently, but here's what I see: that the Germans always have to think inside a box and love their schemes and systems. And in Iceland, like whatever you plan or whatever you think happens is growing quite organically. And the root of the matter is that all the people are somehow connected. I always say Iceland is like Facebook. So if you want to be like anonymous in a big city, Germany is the place. And if you want like a network of people, whether you want it or not, then Iceland is the place to go. Here I tried to draw some cogwheels because I experience Germany as a technology country and also as a country where like only the celebrities are the stars, and like in Iceland everybody can make themselves a celebrity because basically everybody is on Facebook, everybody's on Snapchat, and everybody can make it to the newspaper because the country has as many inhabitants as a middle-sized German city. So whenever you do something special, like even if you build a boat of whatever material including Lego, um, you can become famous. And I actually like that. I just don't know how many Icelanders are following my YouTube channel. Speak up if you're here. Um, then here I decided to draw a lion because the lion is the logo animal of some German football teams. So Germany is like a big cat with a certain hunting dynamic. Um, some things in Germany I find also like scary due to its sheer size. And Iceland is more like a kitty cat. It has its own will and it's very eccentric to me, but it's also like cozy. I have the feeling it warms me and my heart and it keeps me company, and it is okay with the fact that I'm a little bit eccentric. Um, Similarly to the becoming a star, um, here is like the German company, the Firma, where like a lot of people work quite anonymously together, and Iceland has a big do-it-yourself culture. And when you have a hammer as your only weapon, then every problem is a nail. And of course, Germany is in the middle of Europe, and Germany is part of the European Union. I have a red passport, and Icelanders have blue passports. And in Iceland, which is part of the European Economic Area, um, you still see it's an island, which plays a role in the next question. Um, and also in the fact that it's sometimes harder to get really specific things, and you pay a lot of fees when you are trying to order something on the internet. And you tendentially have to work more with what is there than with something that you could potentially get in some distant future. So yeah, then you have to take the hammer and the nail after yourself and make something. And I actually like that. Next question. Where you, person who asked this, can learn Icelandic. I learned Icelandic at the university in Germany, and I was not extremely successful. So my teacher always said, "Yeah, people, you have to go to the country." Okay. I also tried to uh, draw her with like an Icelandic folk costume, and I hope the Icelanders are not too offended by my way of drawing this folk costume. Like this tassel on the woman's hat is really typical, and the cap is usually made out of velvet, and especially elderly ladies have such costumes. They are really like precious and embroidered. And you wear this like at the national day, like June 17th. And like in the beginning, I actually thought all the old ladies had this chin long haircut, which is not totally true. But let's say I like how, for example, the Icelandic TV documents fashion styles of past years and centuries. Web radio is also a good source for any language that uh, someone wants to learn. Uh, And basically, like when I started that in the early 2000s, web radio was not that big yet. So I was kind of sad that I didn't have such resources that young people would have today, thanks to the internet. And yeah, if someone can't go to the university, some evening schools, like in the style of this German Volkshochschule or like Swedish Folkhögskolan, also offer Icelandic classes. And other than that, yeah, ask someone who speaks Icelandic to teach you on the internet. That's also quite all right. Just from my experience, I actually would advise people, um, it should be someone who doesn't base the lessons totally on another language. Like, let's say this lady with the tassel hat was very funny and very loving, but she always only spoke German, so I mostly learned German with an Icelandic accent in these classes rather than learning Icelandic. And in the end, she was right. I had to go to Iceland. I had to learn the language in the street of Reykjavik. Um, Next toast. When and how did I find out about my autism? Good question. I personally think that uh, the signs were there, and there were always chains of events that showed me that I was not like the other kids. But principally, several things came together. Like I started talking on the internet to a gentleman who said he perhaps had autism, and I started um, like hopping around and clicking my fingers around my family, like in the middle of the night, where they said they couldn't basically deal with that anymore because they wanted to sleep. So, like this connection of my tics becoming unbearable to other people and finding a community and like eventually love on the autistic spectrum showed me that like there was an explanation to how I was. So I wrote an email to an autism competency center in my old hometown here. Like, this is a computer, and to me it's like really important to have written this email anonymously, because I was really really scared that someone would find out and like interpret that in a negative way. So actually I got an appointment right away at the center, and I walked in there. This woman who was on service didn't even know me, and she suddenly asked me, "Do you think in pictures?" This is a brain and a picture. Yeah. And this brain was really smiling, because I was like, how do you know that? And then she asked like other questions where I asked, okay, you don't know me, but can you read my mind or something like that? She was like, no, that's totally typically autism. Um, and yeah, that was that. So like, if you yourself have a suspicion that you have some sort of health condition, please talk to a specialist, because I've seen a lot of like very adventurous self-diagnosis out and about on the web, and that can be awkward or even damaging. So yes, please do see a specialist if you feel the need to. So now actually my video is getting much longer than I thought, but that's typical Tante Frida. So yeah, how does Iceland deal with the coronavirus? We're making this explanation as small as the country due to this involuntary contact network that you kind of have in Iceland. Contact tracing is like much easier. It's also quite rigid. There, like, due to the fact that we are an island, there are quite rigid travel and quarantine rules. And here I listed alcohol because, like, some people drown their sorrows in alcohol, but also among the COVID rules is like a partly established ban on alcohol. And yeah, TV starts earlier. Like, it used to start at 10-ish, because like, it's assumed that the most people are at work anyway. But as soon as everyone was home and we had these partial lockdowns, we never had such a full lockdown as other countries. But as soon as these partial lockdowns started, the national TV started trying to entertain the people some more, like with home gymnastics, where you could like weigh water bottles in your hand or just use what you had. Like, the operative word is again using what you have. It's like a kind of such a pioneer spirit around using what you have. And last but not least, did I ever meet a fairy? Um, Person who asked that, did you mean such a little nature spirit in a flower dress? No, sorry to burst your bubble, but I actually have to admit that one of my reasons for moving to Iceland is uh, the openness of the culture to accept such things. Um, Silence. Reverence. Like, I like the idea that the nature has a soul and that we have to treat the nature with respect and only take what we need. And there was this so-called elf minister, uh, like a human woman who has passed away a couple of years ago. And she actually talked to the inhabitants of stones in order to enable street building and so on. And she taught people respect for nature. That's a good closing word. Bye bye.